So friends, a story comes to mind, a short one, which was told to us by Nayaswami Deviji. And it is about two souls who passed on. And they were good souls. They were good people who had passed on. And as they were rising up, they were ascending towards heaven. They didn't know each other, so they didn't speak much. And as they kept going up, they thought, oh, the journey seems to be pretty long. And they started conversing with each other, and they found out about each other, what they were doing, and they felt that they were good people living a dharmic life with good values and virtues. And they started feeling a brotherly feeling towards each other. And as they kept on ascending towards heaven, one soul asked the other, "So what was your religion?" And the other soul answered, "I was a Christian." And the second soul asked the first one, "What was your religion?" And the first soul said, "I was a Muslim." And they fell silent, and they thought in their mind, "Oh, what a pity. He is following the wrong religion. He may not go to heaven." And they felt bad for the other soul. And as they went on ascending higher and higher, they saw a great light, and they were approaching that light. And each one prayed, "God, please allow this soul, my friend, to enter heaven, even though he is from the wrong religion." And they went on ascending nearer and nearer to the light. And then their prayer changed. They started feeling so much kinship, brotherly feeling towards each other, that they prayed, "Light, Lord, if only one soul can enter, let it be my friend. I will wait." Each one was praying in that way. And as they rose higher and higher, only one soul went into the light. But it was the soul which was the commingling of the consciousness of both the souls together. They both entered the light as one. This story tells us that the letter of the law is that religions are separate. But the spirit of the law is that there is a similarity in the religions. There is only one life. There is only one journey for each soul, and that is the journey from confusion to the fact that all that exists is only God's light, and we are all part of that light. And Spirit keeps on guiding each and every one of us through experiences, incidents, situations, towards that knowledge that we come to know that. And here Master says, in the AY, as he was listening to Sri Yukteswarji, propounding the deep truths so beautifully, a mosquito suddenly comes and lands on Master's hand. And instinctively, Master raises his hand to hit the mosquito. And then he stops midway and Sri Yukteswar reads his mind and says, "Why don't you complete the job?" And Master said to his master, "Do you advocate killing, Swamiji?" And Swami Sri Yukteswar said, "No, but you had already given it the death blow when you raised your hand, so you might as well complete the job." So we see here that it is little easier, it seems, to control the action. But can we control the thoughts? It seems a little harder to control the thoughts, to control the negative reactions, those feelings of wanting to hurt someone, those feelings that are negative and wants to have the last word, those feelings that want to be up on the other person, one up, or take revenge for something that happened. All these feelings we get, and how do we tackle them? And Master says, catch them as soon as they come, step by step, before they make a pattern in the brain. Nip it in the bud. And Master had very simple, beautiful ways for doing that. He said, whenever you feel like criticizing someone or even think critically of someone, immediately start speaking ill about yourself. Sounds easy, but it has to be applied in order to have effect. And there was this disciple of Master who found a very nice way to apply this principle. And she said that whenever she wanted to criticize someone and speak critically, she would add at the end of the sentence, just like me. So that way, she put herself away from the pedestal. We many times put ourselves on a pedestal. Oh, I don't have that problem. I don't have any flaws. All these kind of things. So whenever we say just like me, we remove ourselves from that pedestal. Because if there's any virtue we have that people may admire, it's not us, it's God. What can we have in our limited humanity? Nothing but the shadow of God within us. So it's all God. Nothing is ours. So how can we be better than others? We are all one in that same light. And then we come to another way of seeing things, and that is we can do a good thing, we can try not to do a bad thing, okay, like criticizing, by reversing the thought pattern. But we can also do a good thing with the wrong motivation. For example, we may want to do a good thing, but behind that we want to be well thought of. We want praise. All these motivations are giving that action, though outside people feel it's the right action, it is engineered by a wrong motivation. There was a story about the great woman saint Ananda of India, and a man came to her, and he was an expert in yoga postures, and he was doing all the difficult poses so beautifully. And what was Anandamayi Ma doing? She was looking off into space. She didn't give him any energy. Why? Because the consciousness in which he was doing it was, look at me, I'm so impressive. And she didn't want to encourage that kind of spirit. So the spirit of the law and the letter of the law are to be seen, and we need to forget the form but be in the spirit. We have these yoga techniques, these spiritual practices, and we may know each and every technique in the book very well, and that is the letter of the law. But then what is the spirit of the law? The spirit of the law is, do we love God? And while doing the techniques, while practicing the spiritual practices given to us, if we can have the attitude, I'm offering this to you, Lord. I do this for you, Lord. Be with me when I do this, Lord. If we are offering it to God, loving God through the techniques, that would be using the spirit of yoga and not just the letter of yoga. Once Krishna asked his disciple Radha, he asked her, Radha, do you meditate and practice yoga? And she said, Lord, I would very much want to, but I can't stop thinking of you even one moment with so much love that I'm unable to practice yoga and meditation. She had already got the spirit of the yoga. She didn't need the letter of the yoga. I am not advocating love God and don't do the techniques. I'm advocating do the techniques with the spirit, the right spirit. And so it's the consciousness which is important, and all the techniques are on one plane of consciousness. And the spirit of God is in another plane of consciousness, a higher plane. And as we grow in our consciousness, we will understand the spirit and we will use all that we have to do in the right spirit, and the form will fall away, and the spirit will be the sincerity of our heart, the love of God in our heart. And this is why Swami Kriyananda, he wrote affirmations for the yoga postures in his special system of Ananda. By writing those affirmations, he showed that these yoga postures are not just techniques, but they have a consciousness behind those postures which are represented by those affirmations. And many a time, people would say to Swami Kriyananda, oh, what a wonderful book. Swamiji, what a wonderful lecture you have given. And yes, Swamiji did remarkable things in his life. But Swamiji always said, God is the doer. And it was not a false humility. He really felt it that way. It is because of that attitude that he could do all the remarkable things that he did. And so we come to the beginning little story which we had, that as we rise higher and higher towards the light and we grow in God's love within our heart, we will come to know that we are all one. We have come from that one spirit, and that one spirit has created us all. And there are many laws of this world, the laws of man, the laws of the physical world, the laws of gravity, thermodynamics, physics. But then there is the law of miracles. And there's a beautiful chapter in the autobiography of a yogi in which Master has explained that the law of miracles is very, very scientific, as scientific as the other laws of the physical world. And many a times we will have seen that our loved ones, our friends, they have recovered from terminal illness, and the doctors are unable to say how it happened. And they'll say, I don't find a scientific explanation for this. It must be an act. So the law of miracles does work. It can transcend the limitations of the physical laws because they are governed by the consciousness of God and the Spirit of God. And as we grow, as I said before, in the love of God, we too will be able to transcend other laws, understand that it is Spirit. We are part of that one Spirit going towards that one light of God without any limitation.